Is it hard to sit face to face with some of these people that have committed these just atrocious crimes?
We're human. Cops are human. So, yeah, it is very hard. But, the thing that separates us from that is, and I kind of say this, you have to show some kind of an empathy or dignity to expect of, like, I don't want to cross over to the line.
Right.
I'm not you. My goal here is always, in my mind is getting, some type of closure for these victims and these families. Antoinetta, the girl in this situation, it was terrible. Yeah. She was a bright young woman. She lived up in D.C., had a great job up there. She very much cared about all these kids and took care of all these kids. So it was just, this one was of all of them. And again, I go back to the human part of, cops are humans. We're not robots. I mean, when you have kids and families yourself, I mean, it can take a toll. It's tough.
The thing that kind of startles me the most is, when you look at some of these cases like Raven, he's just a regular looking guy. Like, you would figure that somebody that would do something like this, or there was another Netflix series where the guy killed his wife and his 2 daughters. I mean, he's just a good looking guy, works out in the oil field, and like,
what's a murderer look like?
But that's what I'm saying is you would expect a guy that would murder his wife and then put his 2 daughters in an oil can for a month to like be this gnarled up with horns and shit. Like, you would figure that guy would just jump out at you at the crowd, but he's just this unsuspecting, good-looking guy. Raven was an athlete in college, I think, and I mean, it's
mental.
I don't know. It's just these people are as unsuspecting as anybody else that's walking down the road, and that's what's so.
The Peterson guy wasn't normal.
Yeah, but he was a successful writer. He was a big time. He was big in Durham.
Yeah, but he wasn't a normal guy. There was nothing normal about him.
He was a successful author.
He was very successful.
You would figure a guy like him that has his shit together and is living in this mansion, that's the last guy you kind of look for to. And in your mind, how do you think Peterson committed that crime?
I mean, it was clearly a blunt force trauma. I mean, I don't buy that she fell down the steps.
Fuck no.
And received those type of wounds.
No.
I mean, it doesn't work.
Unless you dropped her from an airplane.
I mean, yeah, I mean, I can't see. I did look at the autopsy photos, and not photos, but report and stuff. I mean, it looked like somebody took a hatchet to that lady's head. I mean, it was, and that's the part that folks don't understand. I mean, human beings are capable of doing some pretty heinous stuff. And as a cop, and someone that's there, we're just the fact finders. I mean, you got to be objective. You can't, have this personal vested interest, because then that's when you need to recuse yourself and step aside, because then that's when it all fails. You can't get to that point to where you're going to compromise, because then they win.
Right.
What a terrible thing that, you go to this, to this extent to do everything you can to this person who is obviously guilty, and then compromise yourself.
Right.
I don't get it.
Have you ever gotten a case like that where you were too heavily invested and that you needed to step aside for your own sanity and for the sake of the case?
I don't recall one, no. I don't, not off the top of my head, I don't recall one that I had to recuse from for that. I don't recall one that, no.
Is that common in your field? I mean, do you see guys that have sometimes, for certain circumstances have to step away from a case?
Yeah, I think it occurs. I mean, I can't recall off the top of my head, involving one. I know the ones like obviously if there's some family member or something of that nature, you would have to recuse yourself from it. But I don't recall being in that situation.
Is there a case, and we're going to start wrapping up here because I know we've taken up a lot of your time. Is there a case that still eats at you now that you're kind of towards the end here? Well, you are retired as a detective, So is there still?
No, I'm pretty. I mean, there's always ones that if they were unsolved that you would want to see some type of closure. But I mean, I feel like I've done made my effort and did the best I could with the ones that I had with what was available. I mean, I'm at peace with that.